Well guys, yellow, here we are. Welcome to part 2 of the trailer hitch build. Of course, in part 1 there, you've seen us have the, result there of the trailer hitch needing to be fixed. Well, of course, I had to sublet the job out because my little welder is not strong enough to do this kind of job. So, of course, took her down to the welding shop, got them to weld up the hitch. And yeah, it's basically built about the way that I was going to build it. You know, it's very, very strong steel, U-channel, as well as, the thick-walled square tubing. And, of course, the jack itself, he even welded the square tubing in underneath the plate. And, of course, the jack is all welded in and, good stuff like that. One thing neat is this jack here was a jack that I had probably back in about 2011 for the Beachcomber trailer that never really did come about. So of course, got it all welded up, all good to go. Just letting her pretty much out here in the sun warm up, get the steel all warm for, painting temperatures, and then we're good to go. Pretty much I'm going to give her a wipe down with brake clean first, getting rid of any of the grease or, mill scale on her type of deal. And of course, then I'm probably just going to shoot her with black paint. I know I probably should use the can of aluminum silver type paint that I have in there. It'll be closer to matching the trailer, but at the same time even that's not going to match, and it'll be a pain to touch on up. So if I just use black, black is black, right? And then we're good to go. So of course got to relocate the truck to the front yard there. Don't want to get overspray on it. Once that's all good and warmed up, we'll give her of course a good old coat of paint. Well guys, there we go. Got the first coat on. Of course, I'm not going to do a perfect job on the top side. I'm going to make sure the rails are good on this side here. And of course, the rails are good on the other side. Pretty much I just want it black where it's sticking under the trailer. And then of course, I'm going to flip it on over and do a good coat on the bottom side, because that's where the side is going to get all the rocks and such. And then once it's installed on the trailer, from like here up will be visible, so then I will give it another good coat of paint on the top side from there up. Then that should basically remedy the problem. I'll probably mask the handle of the jack, mask that up, give the jack a good old paint when she is on the trailer. I'm debating if I should paint the coupler. Technically it's galvanized, so it shouldn't rust. Their welds might rust a little, but I'll cross that one when we get there in time. If I notice their welds rusting, then of course I'll paint the coupler, or at least rock guard it or something. Here we are, a little bit of a project check-in, of course. Well, as you seen us earlier, we were painting this here tongue. Well, pretty much as you see now, it's underneath the trailer. Well, what you did miss was me messing around trying to get her to fit. Well, I will say these guys know what they're doing. They are a professional welding crew, and I should not be surprised, but actually it fit perfect. It fit just like the factory one did coming on out of there. A little bit on the tighter side, but as soon as you put weight on the tongue, and of course from the jack, the trailer itself dropped right over the top of the little grooves, and it fit no tighter than the factory one did when it dropped on out. Of course, by no means is this bolted in here yet. It's basically just set in there with the two back pivot bolts. I got to drill a couple of holes in the hitch there where the body of the trailer bolts onto the tongue itself. I'm just trying to decide if I want to go through just the top layer of steel, of the hitch itself. Pretty much right here. It is pretty thick stuff. It should take quite a bit of stress before it cracks or anything. Or do I want to do what they did and drill right through the bottom and basically, double bolt it, if you want to say. So got to figure that on there. And then of course once that's bolted into place, then of course I got to tighten down, the other bolts and a few things like that. And then, we're good to go for the wirings. So pretty much as long as the battery holds out on my drill, we'll keep on going. Well guys, I'm not quite sure where we left off, but pretty much as you see, the hitch is now fully bolted to the trailer. I ended up drilling, of course, through you know, the top side through the bottom side, and then putting the nut on there, rather than just relying on the top layer of tin to hold it all. Pretty much I went around, of course, got all the other bolts in place. These side bolts there, as you see, the big guy is the main bolt. The other guys there are the bolt that holds the plate to the hitch. I got those all in place. Pretty much same with the other side, you know, tightened on down and good to go. So pretty much what I'm doing now is going all around and of course wiping off the dirt. Now really, you know, I should wash this and make a big production of it, however I'm not. So pretty much I'm just giving those bolts, you know, a bit of a prime. And then after that's dry, we'll hit her with some black paint. And of course, while I got the time and the trailer in the shop, I'm going to hit the hinges with primer as well. Not going to paint them, just going to hit them with primer, because, well, you know, they made a galvanized trailer, but they cheapened out on, you know, the hinges, so therefore the hinges rust, and if that's the case, they will break, and then you're replacing the hinges, right? All in all, guys, this is a very well manufactured trailer. They not manufactured as in strong, but manufactured as in they know where to cut costs on, they know what to cheapen out on, and they know how to make things very, very thin. Well, you know, like for example there, you know, the non-galvanized hinges. It would have been nice to have had real hinges there, but at the same time, that would probably be an extra 20 bucks on the, you know, cost of the trailer. So pretty much, guys, I'm going to drag the old trailer out to the edge of the garage, basically where these jack stands are. Then of course we'll have to back the Silverado in closer, and then basically run the wiring from the trailer to the truck, and basically hook everything up, and hopefully it all works. Floor jack. So we'll take your handy dandy wonderful floor jack. One of the nice things about the other truck that I had was it was lower, it was shorter, and it would fit in the garage. Where the Silverado is about 6 inches too tall to fit in the garage, so therefore I have to do it this way. So what we'll do, guys, is we'll get the jack stands under the trailer, and then we'll jack up the back end. Then by then the trailer should be high enough up that we can crawl under and have a look from the bottom side up. You know, checking out for anything that needs to be, you know, touched up down there, and well, away we go. Okay, guys, so pretty much we got the wiring and that all roughed in, but before we can test it, we have to change out this tail light. Now, most of the tail lights, of course, are held in by clips or screws or whatevers. These guys here are held in by a little rubber boot that basically holds the plastic lens or light assembly in place. So to remove your average light, one that hasn't been pushed into you know, the housing or the frame, usually you just push on one edge and the other edge will pop out. This one here has been pushed further into the channel, and of course on this particular trailer there's no back plate to get at this here light to get it out. So of course we gotta get a little forceful with it to remove it. So being this light assembly is already no good, using a pry bar or whatever, we'll get behind her and pretty much pop her right out. Now on these type of lights there are no bulbs. These are a sealed beam unit. Pretty much you unplug that little connector or pigtail back there, plug in a new light. You know, check your rubber boot, make sure it's not ripped or torn or whatever's. If it is ripped or torn, of course that has to come on out and be changed, because if you don't, your new light will probably just fall right back out. Most of these light kits do include the rubber boot as well as you know, the pigtail too, to work on the light. Okay, so even though in this particular instance, this connector, even though it's narrow, does look day and night difference from the wide connector. However, if this camera will focus, you see there, it essentially is the same connector, except this one here has a wider head on it. Which basically, instead of just fitting inside the light like this guy would, it fits over the light, I guess probably giving it more of a tighter seal. So of course we'll plug this light into the trailer pigtail, and then we'll try to fit her on into the frame. So pretty much, you install the boot into the frame, basically whatever your box is, your outline, whatever. Make sure the boot drops into the lip. Make sure the frame sits in the lip of the boot all the way around. Push your lens in and then kind of give her a little bit of a wiggle. You don't want to take her too far, but at the same time you don't want to leave her too far out. Kind of a little bit of fitting, a little bit of playing, and you'll have her down pat. So pretty much, let's test out the lights and see if they work. Well guys, there you go. As you've seen, the brake lights worked, the signal lights worked, the tail lights worked. Left and right signal lights and brake lights worked both when the tail lights and stuff are on. Currently we have ourselves, of course, the tail lights on, which of course engages the side marker lights, both the orange light or yellow light up front, as well as the red lens at the back, with the two tail lights and the license plate illuminator light. Same with, of course, the other side here is basically the same. The red one at the back and the yellow one at the front is good to go. So pretty much now that this is checked out, the operations check, we got to crawl under there and heat shrink all those connectors, make sure they're taped up good out of the way, and then basically the wiring's done, and then we can move on to the next step. Well guys, the wiring's done, everything's buttoned up, heat shrunk, and basically ready to go. Of course, just touching up again, the hinges. When you paint something, when she's folded up, sometimes when you unfold it, you notice other areas that need attention as well. Again, of course, this is no restoration job on this here trailer by far. It's just enough to make it last just a few more years. Not planning to keep it for another 15, 20 years, but at the same time, it has to last the season, it has to be safe, and it has to be good, right? Eventually I'd like to pick up a larger trailer, maybe even a tilt trailer or dump trailer, but until then this is gonna have to do me. So of course all the bolts are primed underneath. All the undersurface, it looks fairly good. There's no missing pop rivets or nothing. Like I said, I just touched up the hinges with gray paint, gray primer in fact, just to try to slow down the rust. I'm gonna pretty much do the same back here on the tailgate with those hinges. Do the same there, touch them up with rust paint. So of course one of the other things I need to do is install my license plate onto this here trailer. When it was new, it had those stupid little plastic clips which broke pretty much right away, and we got to get her done, got to get proper displaying of proper information, and away we go. Well guys, here we are. Of course, as you've seen, we got the tongue on the trailer, wiring all done and basically hooked up to the truck, did the test. Now, I was going to take her out for its maiden rebuilt voyage, whatever you want to call her. However, I did realize one thing was missing. Of course, we are missing, trailer safety chains. Now, of course, this trailer has never jumped off this truck. The coupler has never let go. And of course, that is the original coupler, so I can quite confidently say that. However, there is a first time for everything. And of course, you don't want to take that chance. They are kind of required by law to have them. And I imagine if you ever got pulled over and you did not have them on your trailer or hooked up even, and if you had them on your trailer but not hooked up or didn't even have them on your trailer, I'd imagine you'd get a good ticket or even your trailer impounded. So of course I went on down to the big box hardware store, picked up some chain. Of course it's galvanized chain, so it should resist rusting. I forget what grade it is, but it has like a 2,800 pound rating or whatever it is. So it should do me quite well for this little trailer. And of course I didn't get the snaps I wanted, but instead I got the biggest, best, these little rings that I possibly could. Okay guys, so there we go. Got the safety chains all hooked on up. They might be a tad on the longer side, but of course I still am not satisfied with the D-ring or whatever you call that hookup system. So I'm still on the hunt for the hooks or snaps that I want to use. So of course when I find them, I can take a link or 3 out of the chain, which will tighten it on up. Of course the wiring hangs a little bit low. I do have a flexible lead in there, so what I might do is pull 6 inches or so back, tape it up, and then if I ever pull it on a truck that doesn't have that flexible lead, then I can undo that 4 to 6 inches, right? But pretty much guys, it's been quite the build. We took the factory hitch, which was very, very well under engineered, and of course beefed it up quite considerably. Added a trailer jack to it, which all these trailers should have. Made her out of thicker gauge steel, of course. Then went around, touched up all the cheap hinges, keep them from rusting for another couple of years. Made sure the lights worked, redid the wiring, things like that. One thing I will give these guys is they sure know how to make a cheap trailer. Extra emphasis on the cheap part of it. Of course, for the price point, how you get what you pay for. But at the same time, I would have very well paid a little more to have a decent tongue that wouldn't bend after, a couple of years. And I would have paid a little more to even have the little hole in the tongue like that is for a jack like that to go on into. Some little extras that to me wouldn't really matter if they inflated the cost by a couple $100. At least it's built well. However, of course, on the flip side, when they increase the cost, the price point goes up. The comparison trailers in other markets will be cheaper than this one, and of course then these ones would not sell. And plus, given the trailer the benefit of the doubt, I myself have very, very seldom do I ever stay within the weight rating on this here trailer when I am doing a job or a project. Go back, look at some of my landscaping videos, look at some of my dump run videos, stuff like that. I've had it very, very well overloaded. I will say that I abused this here trailer. I've definitely got my money's worth out of this here trailer in terms of tonnage since 2010 when I bought her. And of course, like I said, the bend started happening in like the fall of 2011 there, when I extremely overloaded it doing that shed build. Apparently 3 or 4 yards of dirt on this here trailer is a bit excessive. But pretty much guys, watch out for the follow-up review of this here trailer. I've never really done one, and I think after all this I need to do one and point out some of the flaws as well as some of the pluses of this here trailer. And as always, thanks for watching Maxwell's World. Comment, subscribe, and enjoy.